Hello, dear children. Now, today I will talk to you about a poem by John Donne, The Canonization. Now, John Donne, as you all know, was born in London and he was a 17th century poet. In fact, together with John Milton, he is also a religious poet, but John Donne is mainly noted for being a metaphysical poet. Now, metaphysical poet is what is metaphysics is that when two heterogeneous ideas, that means that is absolutely two different ideas which have absolutely no connection with each other, they are yoked together, joined together in order as an image in order to describe a particular thought of the poet. Of course, in this particular poem, The Canonization, there is no such metaphysical conceit or metaphysical thought in this, but otherwise, John Donne is famous more as a metaphysical poet of the 17th century. Now, this particular poem, The Canonization, it was published posthumously in the year 1633 in the collection of his poems, titled as Poems. So, in this particular poem, The Canonization, he talks about the power and the holiness of love. And what do you mean by canonization? That means when you are talking about canonization, that means as a canon, you are listed into something. And here, the two lovers, they are listed as saints. Now, love is sublime, love is divine, love is holy, love is powerful, love is strong. So, I mean, there are many poets and many poems have been written on love. But why this particular poem of John Donne is famous? Because he talks not about the simplicity of love, the holiness of love, but its magical power, the magical power of devotion that is there in love. And through love, how you can continue to live timelessly in the hearts of the individuals, in the heart of the world also. In fact, he says. Now, see the very first line of the poem, he says, "For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love, or chide my palsy or my gout, my 5 grey hairs, or ruined fortune flout. With wealth your state, your mind with arts improve. Take you a course, get you a place. Observe his honor or his grace, or the king's real or his stamped face. Contemplate what you will approve, so you will let me love." Now, see the very plea that the poet makes in the first stanza. He's asking, he's asking the audience, he's asking the people to give him time to love. So what if I've fallen in love when my hairs have started growing gray and when my bones have become brittle and cranky and I have become weak-kneed or weak-eyed, as it happens with the coming of old age? But love does not die out and there is no age for love. You can be in love or fall in love at any age. So he says, so what? Let me love. He says, hold your tongue. Hold your tongue, that means do not criticize. ये कहा जाता है ना कि don't interfere in my affairs. Don't stop me in doing what I want to do. Let me love. I mean, that's a statement that the poet is making. Or chide, and chide my palsy gray hair or my weak knees or anything. He says, why you are chiding me? That is why you are scolding me. Why you are annoying me? He says, because my five or my ruined fortune, that means now I have lived my young life. So, what if I do not have the fortune, the wealth of, with the help of money, fame, power, prestige in life? So, what if fortune has failed? So, what? He says, because with wealth, your state, your mind with arts improved. That means you have the power, you have the wealth, you can improve your arts, You can improve your life whether you take your course, get your place. That means whether you take up a career or whether you follow any particular philosophy in life, whether you observe his honor, that is, be the follower of the king, or be the follower of any particular businessman, he says, or you may be enrolled as a subject in the estate of the king, or using the coins in which the head of the king is stamped. Do whatever, in any way, किसी भी रूप में तुम फेम प्रॉस्पेरिटी और वेल्थ acquire करना चाहते हो, whether through your arts, whether your craft, whether your skills, or just by pleasing others, किसी भी रूप से, in any form or the other in which you want to please anybody in life, do whatever you want to do, but please do not interfere in my life. Please do not chide. Please do not observe and criticize what I am doing and why I am in love. And then contemplate, and that contemplate is think. Think about yourself. Stop interfering. Let me love at least. फिर कहता है alas, alas, who's injured by my love? और फिर कहता है किसी का क्या नुकसान हो रहा है मेरे प्यार से? That is, whatever relationship or whatever passions or whatever feelings I am having for my beloved, am I disturbing anybody? क्या मेरे कारण कोई शिप डूब गई है? He says, what merchant ships have my size drowned? That is, are the ships drowned? जो merchandise लेके जा रही है merchant की ship, are they drowned? Who says my tears have overflowed is drowned? Or मेरे tears overflow, अगर मैं दुखी हूं, if I am in pain, and pain of my beloved, pain of my love, and if I'm crying out of that pain, my tears are not drowning the grounds, मतलब कोई floods तो नहीं आ रहे हैं. Because of my tears, no floods are entering into the world. So, when did my colds a forward spring remove? And more or less, अगर मैं बीमार हूं या मुझे परेशानी है, if I am suffering from cold, has my cold stopped the arrival of the coming of the spring? The seasons come and go. Summer comes, followed by autumn, and then winter, and then spring. So if winter comes, can spring be far behind? The seasons will follow suit. They are not subjected to the wishes of my love or the downfall of my love. When did the heats with my veins fill? And he says, the heats of fire, that is, he says he's talking about the warmth, the heat of his fire of love. That is, has it ever caused an extremity in any form of weather? That is, the warmth of my love, has it ever disturbed the flow of the arrival or the going in of any weather? Add one more to the plaguey will, that is, the fever of my love. If I am suffering with the heat and the fire of my love, that is the fever of love. कहा the fever and the fret of the world, Keats ने जैसा कहा था. So he says the fever, it's not the fever, outside fever, but the inside fever, the fever of love. क्या मेरे fever of love ने किसी भी इंसान को मारा है? Has it ever plagued anyone? Plague is supposed to be a disease caused by rat. So अगर plague spread out हो गया in an epidemic form, तो सभी लोग इससे मर गए. But if I am, my soul self is in love with my beloved, has the fever of my love caused the death of any person? क्या कोई मारा गया है because of my fever, because of my love? Soldiers, and he says, soldiers find wars and lawyers find out still litigious men. He says, दुनिया में एक्टिविटी चलती रहती है. Soldiers do their duty by fighting wars against the other nation, and lawyers, they keep on indulging in litigious arguments amongst each other in order to win the case. वो अपना काम करते रहते हैं. And let men quarrel, let men fight, whether they are lawyers or whether they are warriors. But what are we doing? She and I, that is me, myself and my beloved, are doing nothing except are fond of each other and loving each other. Call what you will, we are made such by love. कहता कुछ भी दे दो, कोई भी उपाधि दे दो, but we are made, we are transformed Love has a power of transformation also. So we are transformed by our love. Call her one, me another fly. Matlab we may be insects, like flies who burn with the love of each other. You may call her one fly and me another fly. We are tapers too. Tapers too, like the candle burns and then it dies out. कैंडल क्या होती है? वो जलती है और धीरे 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 मोम पिघलता है और एक समय आता है जब कैंडल पूरी खत्म हो जाती है, जब सारा मोम पिघल जाता है. तो हम इंसेक्ट्स फ्लाइज भी हो सकते हैं whose lives are very short lived, और हम कैंडल के टेपर भी हो सकते हैं, लाइट भी हो सकते हैं, जो धीरे 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 मध्यम पड़ती पड़ती एकदम विलीन हो जाएगी. I mean, it will die out. Our love may be like the tapers of the candles, or we might be like the flies, he says, and at our own cost. और फिर हम अपने ही kind, that is, we are human beings, we are subject to love, to birth and death. भाई भगवान ने हमें immortal तो बनाया नहीं है, isn't it? We are mortal human beings. We are subject to birth and death in life. And we in us find the eagle and the dove. और क्या हुआ अगर हम mortal human beings भी हैं, लेकिन we can be like eagle. Eagle is a big bird. Eagle is a big bird, but it is noted, it is signified for its strength and wisdom. Eagle is strong and wise. तो हमारा प्यार eagle की तरह strong and wise भी हो सकता है और dove की तरह meek and humble भी हो सकता है. Sweet and humble. डव का चिन्ह हमेशा तुम देखोगे, लव्स क्यूपिड जब बना होता है तो उसमें हमेशा डव बनी होती है. सो डव इज व्हाइट इन कलर, दैट सिग्निफाइज प्योरिटी, एंड इट इज स्वीट एंड मीक एंड हम्बल इन नेचर. तो हमारा प्यार इज लाइक एन ईगल, स्ट्रॉन्ग एंड वाइज, एंड लाइक अ डव विच इज मीक एंड humble. The phoenix riddle had more wit. Phoenix riddle, now this phoenix is supposed to be a mythical immortal bird which burns and dies and then again takes rebirth. रीबर्थ होती है इसकी, मतलब फिनिक्स हमेशा एक ही फिनिक्स जिंदा रह सकती है और वो अपने आप बर्न होकर खत्म होती है और फिर उसमें से another phoenix comes out. A second. So we are like phoenix. We will die in our love, but our love will not be ended. It is going to be immortal like a phoenix and continue to live in the hearts of others. It will come alive. It will take a rebirth. So the phoenix की image में ये भी कहा गया है कि it also signifies Christianity, the presence of the Christ, and at the same time it also signifies the resurrection of Christ. जैसे Christ को क्रॉस पे लटका दिया गया था, isn't it? लेकिन Christ came back on earth. He was resurrected after his death. He took a rebirth in order to improve mankind. For the sake of the love of mankind. तो हमारा love भी like a phoenix है. By us we too being one are it. और हम क्यों phoenix हैं? क्योंकि हम body में तो दो हैं. We are like two beings in body, but we are one at heart. So to one neutral thing both sexes fit. We die and rise the same and prove mysterious by this love. और इसीलिए both the sexes, the male and the female, are different sexes. We both are different by gender, but we die and rise the same. That is our love. हमारे अंदर कॉमन क्या है? हमारा प्यार. और हमारा प्यार अमर है. It will die, momentarily die with our death. जब हमारी bodies खत्म हो जाएंगी तो our bodies will not be able to prolong that love in a passionate manner as we are doing while we are alive. But after death, we will take rebirth. We will be reborn. Why? Because our love will continue to live in the hearts and the minds of the public, he says. So in this way, it becomes mysterious. So हमारा love क्या है? It is a sort of a miracle. It is a sort of a spiritual, holy thing. We can die by it if not live by love. कहता ठीक है. At present, in our age, we can die because we are subject to death. लेकिन हमें याद कौन करेगा? We can live. How can we live in the minds of the others? We can live because of our love. जैसे कहानी है रोमियो जूलियट की, हीर रांझा की, लैला मजनू की, ये सारी कहानियां प्यार के कारण ही तो ये लोग याद करे जाते हैं. अदरवाइज एज अ ह्यूमन बीइंग्स लैला मजनू कौन है? हीर रांझा कौन है? रोमियो जूलियट कौन है? दे आर ह्यूमन बीइंग्स who are subject to love. and birth and death in life. Lekin we remember these pair of lovers because of the bond of that mutual love between them, that eternal love between them. सो आज भी ये कहानियां जिंदा हैं और आज भी हम उन्हें याद करते हैं बिकॉज ऑफ देयर लव. तो हम लोग भी क्या हैं? वी कैन ऑल्सो लिव बाय आवर लव फॉर ईच अदर, ही सेज. And if unfit for tomb or hearse our legend be, it will be fit for verse. And if no piece of chronicle we prove, we'll build in sonnets pretty rooms. कितनी अच्छी बात बोली है. I love this part of it. He says, if unfit for tomb, मतलब अगर whenever a big person, I mean an important celebrity dies, or important politician dies, or a leader of the nation dies, तो क्या होता है? उसकी एक tomb या hearse construct की जाती है, so that it can live on and on in memories of others. जैसे गांधी जी की है, गांधी जयंती मनाई जाती है, isn't it? So, I mean, their tombs tend to celebrate the birth and the death of the important human beings. And every time on that particular day, we are reminded of them. So, हमारे लिए कोई monument नहीं construct होगा, कोई tomb नहीं बनाई जाएगी, कोई urn नहीं रखा जाएगा. क्या हुआ? If we are unfit for that, no matter if we are unfit for that, लेकिन our legend, हमारी कहानी भी कभी नहीं मरेगी. कहानी किसकी? हमारे प्यार की. Our love will become a legend that is will continue to live ages after ages. और कैसे? By the chronicle of power. कौन सा power? Through poetry. How can our love live? Love cannot live by being transcribed into a monument, but it will continue to live in the hearts of the people through poems. Poems never die out. Poems though can be replicated again and again for ages and ages. जैसे तुम आज poems पढ़ती हो, 16th century poets की पढ़ती हो, Wordsworth, Keats, Shelley की पढ़ती हो, आगे हार्डी की पढ़ती हो, और today modern poets पढ़ती हो, John Donne, Milton, किस की नहीं पढ़ती हो poems. So poems tend to live forever and ever through generations and generations. And why we read those poems? Because we learn something. Some message is given in those poems. It may be the beauty of nature, it may be the human bondage, it may be human learning, any message can be. So our love will become a legend, he says. It will be fit for verse, that is for poems. Verse means poems. And if no piece of chronicle be proved, अगर हमारा क्रॉनिकल भी प्रूव, मतलब अगर हमारा नाम स्वराक्षरों में हिस्ट्री में नहीं लिखा जाएगा, वही बात है, व्हाट हैपेंस टुडे गोज डाउन इनटू हिस्ट्री टुमारो. लेकिन हम लोग क्या है? क्या हमारा नाम हिस्ट्री में लिखा जाएगा? हम कौन है? अनलेस एंड अनटिल वी आर सम सेलिब्रिटी और लीडर्स ऑफ द नेशन. तो क्या हुआ अगर हमारा प्यार जो है क्रॉनिकल फॉर्म में हिस्ट्री में नहीं लिखा जाएगा? If we will not be written in the chronicles of the history, he says, but we'll build in sonnets pretty rooms. That is, we will be celebrated in the stanzas of the poems. Pretty rooms means pretty stanzas. Rooms नहीं है, मतलब कमरों में नहीं. Pretty rooms, that through pretty stanzas, our love will be celebrated through the poems. As a well-route urn becomes, जैसे कि वेल राउट अर्न होता है, बना हुआ अर्न जिसमें कि एशेस प्रिजर्व करी जाती हैं. द ग्रेटेस्ट एशेस एज हाफ एकर टूम्स, एंड बाय दीज हिम्स ऑल शैल अप्रूव अस कैनोनाइज्ड फॉर लव. जैसे एशेस प्रिजर्व की जाती हैं एज अ सेक्रेड थिंग अबाउट दैट पर्टिकुलर सोल in life, in the same way our souls will continue to live in the hearts of the people as saints. So we will be canonized as lovers, we will be canonized as saints of love. Canonized का मतलब समझ में आया कि we will be canonized as saints, will continue to live. मतलब हमारा एक hermitage बन जाएगा, और hermitage की हमारा holy heart जो है is a sacred heart touched by the love of each other. फिर लास्ट में कहता, and thus invoke us You whom reverend love made one another's hermitage, वही बात कह रहा है कि made one another's hermitage. You to whom love was peace, that now is rage, who did the whole world soul contract and drove into the glasses of your eyes. That is, हम लोग जो हैं वो कहना चाहिए एक hermitage बन जाएंगे, एक तरह से sacred chapels. hermitage क्या भी मतलब हमारा अपना अपना दिल जो है, अपना अपना पर्सन का दिल जो हुआ, एक अपना प्राइवेट चैपल बन जाएगा. चर्च, चैपल इज चर्च, मतलब चर्च जाते हो टू प्ले होमेज टू गॉड. उसी तरह से हमारे प्यार का ये सोल जो है, ये हार्ट जो है, एक हर्मिटेज बन जाएगा, एक प्राइवेट चैपल बन जाएगा, कहता है, बिकॉज ऑफ द बॉन्डेज ऑफ दैट लव. वाई बिकॉज हमारा लव जो है नोज पीस. हमारे प्यार के बारे में सुनने से यू गेट पीस एंड विजडम. तुम क्यों जाते हो चर्च, तुम क्यों जाते हो टेम्पल, तुम क्यों जाते हो मॉस्क? इन ऑर्डर टू सर्च पीस. एंड लव इज पीस, ही सेज, विच इज नाउ द रेज ऑफ द डे. मतलब सब लोग जाते हैं. कहता है हु डिड द होल वर्ल्ड सोल कंट्रैक्ट, मतलब और फिर यही नहीं है कि वी आर कंट्रैक्टिंग द लव ऑफ ईच अदर, बट द वर्ल्ड, पूरी दुनिया जो है, will be reflected in the mirrors of our eyes because of our love. Into the glasses of our eyes, into the mirrors of our eyes. That is our whole, the whole world's soul, the soul of love, world's love will contract into the mirrors of our eyes, so that they did all to you epitomize, countries, towns, gods, beg from above a pattern of your love. He says, because he says, passion का क्या है? Passion तो एक sinful distraction है. भाई, if you are passionate, तो कहा जाता ना कि नहीं ये सब चीजें ठीक नहीं है. It's a sinful distraction. He says, but love जो होता है, that raises mortal human beings to the brink of spiritualism, he says. And यही बात है. This is the most important part that he talks of in the end. That poetry जो है, because of its love, is timeless. और canonization जो है, it becomes, in this particular poem, becomes the proof of this whole argument, because the centuries old poem can be survived by surviving in that immortalization that love describes in this particular poem. So पूरी जितना भी लास्ट में कहते हैं, they did all you, they will be epitomized in your love. Centuries के पूरे, मतलब through centuries you will live as an epitome of love. These two persons will live as epitome of love. Countries, town, gods beg from above a pattern. और फिर जब ये we will live as legends in the form of poems, in the form of the stanzas in a poem, and people will continue to see our souls reflected in the mirrors of the world, then यही नहीं आज के लिए, पर आगे आने वाले कल में जितने भी कंट्रीज हैं, टाउन्स हैं, कोर्ट्स हैं, everybody will ask, क्या पूछेंगे? They will ask God for the pattern of your love. That is, they will want to know this archetypal pattern of love which we have followed, because for centuries coming and going, they will also want to follow this type of archetypal love, which will continue to live for ages and ages. Clear? So इस पर्टिकुलर पोएम की राइम स्कीम है ABBA CCCAA. क्लियर? और फीनिक्स जो है वो एक इमॉर्टल मेटाफर है इस पर्टिकुलर पोएम में, which describes rebirth, rejuvenation and resurrection. So Christian mythology में the phoenix tends to symbolize the resurrection of Christ also. So love is eternal, love is immortal. That is what the poet Donne has tried to show in this particular poem. Thank you.